Class is now in session. Join the Podcast Mogul Phil Better as he gives you tips, techniques, and strategies to grow and monetize your podcast. Live in his Facebook group, The Better Method of Daily Audience Growth for Independent Podcasters. Learn from him and his special guests as they help you become the next podcast superstar. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, podcasters of all ages, put your hands together for your host, Phil Better!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the podcast series. I am, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better. And I'm so excited that you guys are here. You guys are live. You're feeling the love. Remember, if you're watching live, hashtag live. If you're checking out us on the replay, hashtag replay gang. I want to feel your love for it. But right now, I know probably a lot of people here aren't watching normally because they're off watching Casters for a Cause, an amazing event put on by my boys, the Scene Snobs. So I understand if you're not here. It's way better over there. The Scene Snobs, boy. They're raising money for MS. So that is something that you guys can check out. Make sure if you're listening to this, go over and subscribe to the Scene Snobs. They're on their YouTube channel. You can check it out. I was there at 1 p.m. I was one of their first guests. They did their morning show, which I love, which is genius what they do. And I'm going to be back there a little later around 10 to do their trivia game, movie trivia. I don't know, but all I know is I'm probably going to lose. But that's just irregardless of whether or not I'm a good podcaster. Today's episode, though, I want to talk to you guys about the lessons that I've learned this week and past weeks from entrepreneurs and how that can help you take your podcast to the next level. Because I personally believe that podcasting is a business. If you have a podcast, you have a business. The only thing is you have to understand how it relates to business. And that's what I want to talk to you about. I actually interviewed a gentleman who was the president. Was it the CEO, president? He was the ruling party, if you will, of a major insurance company here in Canada. It's a financial insurance company. They do something. I guess it's Standard Life. He was the president and CEO of Standard Life Canada for a while here in Montreal. And he gave me some amazing lessons that I want to share with you today, as well as some other guests that I have on the show. If you're interested in listening to that, go subscribe to my podcast, Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast, where I interview entrepreneurs about their story to help inspire you to become the next great entrepreneur. But here's the thing. He said that decisions are never perfect. You'll never make a perfect decision because of the information that you have at the time. However, you can make a good enough decision that one you will not regret. Make a decision that you will not regret. And how do you do that? How do you make a decision that you won't regret later on? So he talked about a few stories about some of the people he's helped and coach and mentor. He transitioned from being a CEO to running a health company. Now he runs a yoga studio. He's an actor. He's a producer. He's done a whole bunch of stuff. And he believes that that life is about play. Okay, you have to have fun, and you don't have one giant book of your life. He believes you have a lot of mini stories. It's an anthology of short stories in your life. And how do you figure out what it is that you love? And he goes on to tell, and this is something that I was dumbfounded when he said it, but you have to use the information that you have. Do your research, get to know a bit, and then take the action steps to move on. And that is the best decision you can do at the time. Obviously, when you move on and you can get more information, you make better and better decisions. No decision is perfect. So your podcast right now is the best version of your podcast that you can put out. But if you continually study, learn new techniques, find different podcasters, different organizations that will help better your podcast, then you're 100% further along than where you were beforehand. And this can mean listening and talking with entrepreneurs. If you want to learn how to, if you want to learn how to market your podcast, don't look at what other podcasters are doing, because that necessarily won't work for your podcast. But what you can do is go find marketing companies, digital marketing companies, promotional companies, LinkedIn companies. There are so many entrepreneurs out there that focus in on certain social media platforms or have have companies that specify in growing businesses that you can take their knowledge and apply it to your podcast, because your podcast is a business. You're the CEO or producer of your podcast. As independent podcasters, just so everybody can understand, and people who are listening, if you don't fit into it, it's fine. But you're an independent podcaster. If you're a team of 2 or team of 1, team of 50, you're still if you're a team of 50, you're probably not an independent podcaster. But if you're a team of 1 or 2, that means you take on roles that are similar in a business. When you first start out, like for me, when I first started off, and to this day, I'm a one-man band with my podcast. Why? Because I don't want to give up control. But 2, it's so that I can show you independent podcasters that just being one person, you can grow your podcast to an influence that's unbelievable. So when I look at my podcast, I look at the roles that I have. When I'm hosting, when I'm talking to you guys, I am the host. What is the job of the host? The job of the host is to inform, educate, get the questions right so that they can ask the appropriate questions of the guest. Or if it's a single solo episode like this, provide the information to the audience so that they understand what's going on in the world or whatever they're talking about. Now, once you're off that, now you have your editor. That's another role you can take. You have the PR person or the media person or the promotion person, the social media manager, whatever you want to call it. Those can be individual roles or they can be one role. Then you have the producer. What is the producer's job? The producer's job is to go out and get guests for the podcast, vet the guests, figure out if it's the best concept for the episode. All those are related to employees. Your producer is like your CEO, the president of the company. His job is to make sure that the whole thing, the whole business works together, that everything just is smooth. So he plans out he sees the big picture. That's what a producer does. He sees the big picture. Then you have, that could be the executive producer. It depends on if you want to have an executive producer or not. But the producer role is to make sure that the whole podcast goes great. Then you have the editor's job, who is to make sure everything sounds great on your podcast and make sure that it's uploaded on time. That can be an employee in the company, depending on what the company is. So if you start thinking about your business, your podcast as a business, it's going to help you. So just like my guest Joseph Yanala, I can't pronounce his last name. Joseph said, you have to go in with the information that you have and make the best choice. So I'm trying to tell you guys here, take this information, treat your podcast like a business. If you want to make money with your podcast, you have to treat it like a business. And this is what all the entrepreneurs say. You need to look at your what you're doing as a business and set up the exact roles. Another guest that I had who has been podcasting for longer than I have, he started in blogging. He's been 30 plus years, and that episode blew my mind. He talked about how he was using his podcast, his webcast, not only for his business, but also to help his clients go to the next level. He is a huge proponent of how powerful podcasting is. And now, here, I'm going to get you guys a little secret. This is what I think you guys should do. I know I'm jumping all over the place because this is just lessons from entrepreneurs. Like, there are thousands of entrepreneurs. If you listen to each one of my episodes, you'll get concrete tips. There was one guest who runs a program called the 30K program, where she helps employees, female employees, get a 30K bump in their salary through negotiation. Think about that. That's negotiating. It's a skill. But that's what she does. She helps them with her program, in an 8-week program, that majority of the people in her program get an extra 30K on their salary through their negotiation skills. You're a podcaster. You need to negotiate a sponsorship. If you don't have the skills necessary, how are you supposed to negotiate that? And there's awesome tips in that episode with her. And I as someone who grew up in a business world, grew up in the corporate world, I wish I learned these skills before today, before I entered into the entrepreneurial space. If you guys are not consuming content that will help you become a better version of yourself as you continually evolve. Look, if you're a podcaster for any amount of time, 6 months, a year, you already have a system in place to grow, to make sure your podcast comes out. I know Mondays, I schedule all my interviews. Monday, I sit down on my computer, I type away, I create all this, the StreamYard links. I make sure the copy's all good, send out the links to all my guests. I set up this. That's my Monday. That's my system. Tuesday, I go out and look for more guests. I go post on different platforms. I go search the hosting platforms because that's what the PR person role of my podcast is. That's my Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday, I am the host. I just interview people all day. I take meetings as well sometimes. And if you're open to it, please visit my website, feelbetterinc.com/consult, and I will gladly sit down and help you understand how you can make your podcast either monetarily great or how you can grow your podcast. All right. But that's what I do on my Tuesdays, my Wednesdays and Thursdays. And Friday, it's just follow-ups from the 2 other days, sending out emails to previous guests saying, hey, this, that, this, and that. I want to thank you for this. Here, let me connect you with this person. Just from one interview, I was given 5 referrals for guests, 5 people. And I was invited on 4 podcasts from the last 2 days. That's the power of your podcast. It can connect you with the people that can help you become a better version. Even if you're talking about movies, you can connect with movie directors, actors, actresses, scene people, directors, producers, the key grip boy, the composers. And what that will give you is access to their network. But first, you have to give them a great experience. So, biggest lesson is don't worry about making a perfect decision. Perfect decisions don't exist. Make a decision with all the information that you have that you won't regret because you're using all the available information that you have. Now, so you live without regret. Like that is the biggest thing that I took away this week from my interviews was to make your decisions not perfect because you need to go. You need to go. One of the best thing is, it's by this gentleman who from Australia. He has, instead of ready, aim, fire, he goes ready, fire, aim. Because you shoot first, and I'm not talking about actual guns here, people. I'm talking about sending out your emails to get people. Shoot out as many emails as you want, and then you can refine it over time. Don't think too much about what goes into that email. Be honest. Say, hey, I'm looking to have you on my podcast. On Tuesday, I spent the whole day just going into LinkedIn and finding people I wanted to connect because I want them on my podcast because they have something that I want to learn about. So I sent them a message. I'm like, hey, I know this is a weird request. We haven't met, but I would love to have you on my podcast. That's why I'm reaching out. Be honest. And obviously, as you go, like the first message is always the worst. But as I continued, the messages got better and better. Because I made the decision, with more information, more I wrote it, the more I thought. Instead of just thinking about, what's the perfect message? Try. In Facebook groups, I have told you this on previous episodes, don't post links. Share that information, right? Facebook wants to keep you on the platform. Twitter wants to keep you on a platform. Instagram wants to keep you on the platform. TikTok, all the social media platforms want to keep you, the user, on their platform. So if you post anything that will take them out of that, they're going to suppress it. And it's not shadow banning it. It's smart business. Just like I want you to listen to this. So I'm going to be as energetic and vocal as possible. Now, there's 100 things that you can do. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to write out all the positions in your podcast that you do. Write out the roles. Then record the steps in that role. Obviously, the host is you. You're the host. So You don't need to you record that on a daily, but what other task, what day will you do each task? And slowly and surely, you're going to have a system in place, a procedure, what's called an SOP. Okay. That's SOP is system of procedures. Standard operating procedure. Sorry, an SOP is a standard operating procedure. This is another lesson I learned way back in season 2 of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Having a procedure in place or a standard operating procedure will help you know exactly what you have to do instead of being rushed and figuring, oh no, and never having the same things go on, and you can never get that consistency. So having a standard operational procedural thing is great. Making the best decisions by having the information you have. And then look at what you're good at, what you're okay with, and what you're shitty at. And figure out, okay, I want to do something in this line. I'm not good at this, so I need to find someone that can help me with this. And go explore. Go search in YouTube. Go search TikTok, search Instagram. There are people, entrepreneurs out there right now giving away their secrets for growing their business, which you can incorporate into growing your podcast, because your podcast, again, is a business. So this is what I want you to do. In the comments down below, if you're watching live, hashtag live. If you're watching on the replay, hashtag replay gang. But I want you to put in the comments down below one question you have about running a business. Okay. And I will find an episode that I have that will answer it, and I will share it with you. I will tell you exactly what it is. Who do we have coming into the comments right now? Give me 1 second. Live at the end. I don't care if you're at the end. You can watch the whole thing back. I'm just thankful that you're here learning. So thank you very much for being here. I'm pretty sure I know who it is, but I don't want to make a mistake. But thank you for being here live at the end. You're still an amazing person. I thank you all so much for watching. So yes, write down your questions about entrepreneurship that you have, or why you think, write your question about an entrepreneur, or a question you have about promotion, systems, whatever you want, networking. I want to help you, so ask questions. I want to make you guys help you guys become better podcasters, make the decisions that are going to help you take your show to your podcast to the next level. You guys are worth it. You guys are amazing. I thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to always invest in yourself. Where's my mouse? There we go.